Hi everyone, welcome to Fleet Equipment from the Floor, ACT Expo 2023, powered by Cummins. I'm Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment, and it's day 2 for us here on the show floor, and we have a great show for you. We're gonna hop over to the Volvo Trucks North America booth and check in with their president, Peter Verhoeven. We're gonna go outside to the ride and drive area and check out Kenworth. We're gonna come back in, we're gonna visit Mack, we're gonna visit Chevron, but first, let me welcome Amy Davis, President of Accelera by Cummins, to the show. Amy, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. You did a great job at the keynote this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I want to talk Accelera, lots of great product here, and you're bringing new products to the market under a new brand by Cummins. But this industry is very relationship driven, very results driven. So how are you bringing these new products and new brand and working with customers to get them comfortable in using the equipment?
Yeah, you really hit on the point of differentiation for us at Accelera by Cummins, because we have deep relationships in the industry that date back for decades.
Right.
We work directly with the end fleets and the OEMs, and what we're doing with Accelera products is we are working on both ends of the spectrum. We're partnering with the OEMs, and we're looking ahead at the product plan and talking about the right moments to introduce either components or systems in. But sometimes the fleets want to try things before the OEMs really have them in production. So we're working with the fleets now, looking at some of their duty cycles and applications and doing some pilot programs. And so we're putting some trucks together, we're upfitting them ourselves. We bought an integrator so that we can do that and make trucks and get some systems operating with fleets so we can learn together.
Right, for sure. One of the big bullet points from your keynote this morning talked about infrastructure, and there was a really big hydrogen number with like a lot of zeros that I don't quite remember.
Yes, 662 million metric tons.
Yeah, there you go, that's a lot, you know. We're also hearing about the massive amount of battery electric infrastructure that needs to go in. From the Accelera by Cummins point of view, what's your role in infrastructure and helping bring that to market while you're doing that with product? What's the role in infrastructure?
Yeah, so our main role is we make electrolyzers. So we, on the stand here, you'll see an electrolyzer stack, which is scalable to hundreds of megawatt kind of large-scale hydrogen projects. So we are very active in hydrogen infrastructure build out as a technology provider, as a product participant in that space, and working hard to scale quickly so we can get the costs down and make that technology relevant. That's opening up partnerships for us with utilities and other renewable energy investors and developers, so that we're finding ways to partner in other things like energy storage, using our battery technology. So we're playing a technology role, is what I would say.
Right. Well, and Cummins has been a long history of a great supplier to the trucking industry. And now Accelera by Cummins, how are you bringing that supplier relationship to OEM trucks? I know you mentioned that you bought a few too to learn, but how are you bringing product choice to a zero emissions product lineup at the OEM level?
Yeah, from my perspective, the OEMs are very busy. They have a lot of platforms to look at, and they're looking at battery and fuel cell, or fuel cell, what do we do first, second? So we're really partnering with them, I would say, at the highest level on the product plan. What's the roadmap need to look like? And like we've always done at Cummins, if there's places that they're not ready to invest, how do we help them get a product out there so that the fleets can try it? So we're at the table with them in the long picture, as well as talking about upfitting and making some products available in the short term. I firmly believe, I'm very confident that Cummins is going to play the kind of role, and now Accelera by Cummins, in electrification that we've played for the last 100 years for the future of our OEMs and our industry.
Great. Well, and we can't wait to see how that rolls out. I appreciate you taking the time. It's been wonderful talking with you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
We're going to go to David Sickles right now. He's over at the Volvo Trucks North America booth, where he's going to check in with their president, Peter Verhoeven, and get a walk around of what they're showing at the show. David, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Jason. We are standing here with Peter Verhoeven. He is the president of Volvo Trucks North America. Peter, you just had a great press conference where you talked about having 36 EV certified dealers in North America. That's triple the number that you had last year.
Yeah.
Why is that important to fleets?
It's very important that we have the dealers because we need to take care of our trucks. Trucks drive 95, 97% of the time. Uptime is extremely important for our customers. But a car stands still 90% of the time, a passenger car, but a truck has to drive. So therefore we want the EV, we want the dealer network to take care of our trucks, in case something goes wrong that they can take care of it, but most importantly also to do all the preventive maintenance. All our trucks come with a maintenance contract, so we do the preventive maintenance, and that guarantees the uptime to the highest level. But as the trucks drive all over the country, you need to have dealerships all over the country. We're very proud of our dealer network and that they adapt so quickly, because you said we have 36 EV certified dealers. We have another 60 in the queue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
So speaking of your electric trucks, can you tell me what the response has been to your second generation Volvo VNR electric since you announced it?
So we launched a 150-mile truck because we believed it was important to get started. And also for a 150-mile truck, there is a lot of use, right? I mean, 30% of all the Class A trucks in the US drive less than 200 miles per day. So that was a very good segment. Still, many of our customers wanted more range, and they waited a little bit then for the phase 2 truck. But this is a 6 battery, so now you can choose 4 batteries or 6 batteries.
Oh wow, okay.
And then you can choose your range. And the response has been fantastic.
And why is that choice and configuration so important to fleet?
Well, it's important because batteries are heavy, right? So with 6 batteries, you have a heavier truck, and then that works on your payload. But also, it's not always necessary. If you are a distributor of beverages, for instance, in a city center, you don't drive that many miles. So then you're okay with the four battery pack truck plus 4 battery packs. And if you drive beverages, which is rather heavy, you want to carry your load rather than the batteries. On the other hand, if you have longer ranges, then you need that extra battery. So the customer can really define, based upon the application, how he expedites the truck. And we have to be honest, for the moment, the batteries are not cheap. So 4 batteries and 6 batteries, there is a financial aspect as well.
For sure. Of course, every fleet's unique. They're going to have different needs, so that's great. One last question for you. Infrastructure. How are you helping the fleets that you're working with, helping them to develop that infrastructure? Of course, you can't just buy the truck. You've got to have the chargers as well. So how are you being their partner? It's
a very important point that you bring up there, because we see now infrastructure as one of the big elements to help accelerate what we call then the decarbonization of transport, or the uptake of zero-emission vehicles. You need to be able to charge your truck. The charging infrastructure is not completely ready for the moment. We need grid operators and utility companies also to come through and help so that we have enough charging points. We within Volvo Trucks recognize that problem, and so we have partnered up with Pilot Flying J. Pilot Flying J, everybody knows Pilot Flying J, right? One of the largest, if not the largest, fuel and provider and travel company in the US. So together with them, they have the locations. Together with them, we're going to figure out where is the need the highest to get charging infrastructure in place. So it's a partnership with somebody who understands what is fuel providing and somebody who understands what the electric trucks do. So yeah, and again, we're not going to solve that on our own. We need everybody with us. But yeah, it's a good step in. It's a step in the right direction.
We are here with Johan. He is here to show us around the Volvo Trucks North America booth. Johan, kind of show us around a little bit.
Yeah, welcome to the Volvo booth. And so here we have our electric powertrain or electric motor that is currently in production. So this is what we install in the model we call VNR Electric, which is an on-highway truck, and we can produce up to 455 horsepower, more than 4,000 foot-pounds of torque. And then we also have paired that with the packaging when it comes to batteries. So you have 565 kilowatt of packaging energy storage on the vehicles. And that gives you about 275 mile range when it comes to these products.
Is this what we're seeing in the second generation VNR?
Yes, this is what we're seeing in the second generation of the VNR that exists out there.
Excellent, excellent. What do you have as far as charging goes over here?
Yeah, so as far as charging, I mean, there's many solutions when it comes to charging, right?
Yeah.
And so it's anything up to, currently on the Volvo and the Phase 2 VNR Electric, we support up to 250 is the ambitions when it comes to the charging. So basically anything up to that level. Of course, there's many different standards. You always have to make sure that they're fully compliant and stuff. But we have a team that actually supports all our customers in doing this and make sure that if they get a certain charger and stuff, that we know that it's going to be able to charge the truck and be compliant and really work.
Very cool. Very cool.
So this is one of them that we partner with, Gilbarco, and that uses an ABB charger.
Okay, okay. So I saw a diesel engine over here.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about that and decarbonization as far as diesel goes?
Among all these people here, yeah. But when it comes to diesel, I mean, when we talk decarbonization, we also have to realize it will take some time. We will have an issue with a grid. The grid will evolve. Think about it like when AC came into the American homes, right? Everyone was talking about the grid would fall apart then too, and then it successfully evolves with the need. That will happen here too. That's our likely bet. Now the big issue is if we get a cliff event, then of course, then the grid can be an issue. In the meantime, we need to keep focusing on ICE or internal combustion engines and make those even better. So this is our current B13 TC. It's one of the most fuel efficient, or the most fuel efficient engine in the marketplace today, I would say.
Wow, yeah.
And produce great power. There will be, of course, updates, and you're talking about, what could be future fuels.
Yeah.
So you have regular diesel still being discussed, of course. You have renewable fuels such as biodiesel, renewable biodiesel. You have hydrogen, which is a big one that many people talk about, and we'll get to the fuel cell later on.
Sure.
Hydrogen has to be a part of the solution going forward. The question is when do we get fuel? When do we get infrastructure, and when it's available? This is a great engine, and it really performs well. So I mean, many of our customers today that would run this, they go with our gear specking that we recommend. So in many cases, if you want a direct drive, we would recommend like a 215 rear axle ratio, fairly fast. And if you want to do, and then we have our special option with this where we do I-torque, we call it, where we have a similar rear axle ratio, but we also pair that with a different shifting technology. So when you hit hills, when you need power, we shift down one gear. So the 12th gear is truly an overdrive gear.
Very cool.
And if you're 80,000 pounds, you're most likely going to see a minimum of 8.5 MPG. We have customers running this up to 11.5,
Wow.
depending on what speed. Speed is the biggest one for MPG.
Okay.
So that's the biggest one that brings your MPG down in many cases.
So tell me a little bit, I'm really excited about the cell-centric venture here,
Yes.
the fuel cell system that you have here. Just tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this is a fuel cell system, hydrogen-based fuel cell system, cell-centric. So that's our JV together with Daimler Trucks. So in this new industry, we got a partner with old enemies, maybe you could call them, but we really like it. So we are going together, both of us, producing this through cell-centric. So this is a fuel cell. It produces about 150 kilowatts. On a long-haul truck, you will package most likely two of them, to produce enough energy to keep the energy flowing to the batteries and an electric driveline of some kind.
Sure.
This is, of course, right now in our testing phases, early testing phases and prototype phases. It will take some time to make this sure. We just had a winter test, and you got to make sure that everything works in all temperatures, all criterias, and everything. Today we're at about 20,000 hours lifetime on it, and of course, cell-centric and our partners there, we're always trying to do better and push that up. So. But it's a very interesting technology.
Well, Johan, thank you so much for showing us around here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and appreciate it for your time.
Of course. Jason, back to you.
Hey David, great to see what Volvo's doing over there with their zero emission investments. Thanks for bringing us this. I'm here with Jim Nebergall, General Manager, Cummins Hydrogen Engine Business. Jim, thanks for joining me here to talk about some hydrogen ice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So this is the engine, right?
That's it.
It looks great. Part of your fuel agnostic platform. What's the business case for this? When we're talking about hydrogen ICE, what's the use case for it? There's fuel cell conversations. What is the ICE hydrogen case?
Yeah, it's just another technology that uses the same fuel. So as we look forward to the future, there's a lot of new technologies. It's rare that we have an opportunity to have two consumption technologies using the same fuel.
Right.
And so this should drive additional demand for hydrogen fuel infrastructure. Fleets can make investments because they know they have options.
Okay.
They really don't have options often, and this is a really exciting case where we have options. It is a completely different technology. It is combustion, but it's the same fuel, so it's a zero carbon solution.
Okay.
It's also a conventional technology. We build this engine at scale globally. Everything in the red here, we'll be building at hundreds of thousands of units a year.
Yep.
So those components are very established, low cost. The only unique components that you can see are in white. So it is a unique combustion.
Right.
There's a spark plug. It's a direct inject engine. So those components will be lower volume, but overall the package is very low cost.
Right.
So it's a low carbon or zero carbon, low cost technology that should help accelerate and provide additional use case for hydrogen.
I see, yeah, and very familiar. And actually, I saw something over here in the booth. You got it in a truck,
yeah,
right?
that's
So
right,
let's go take a look at it.
So this is part of our fuel consumption platform. This is a 50
Yeah, so this is really cool and very approachable, right? I'm used
That's
to
right.
seeing this kind of a configuration technology.
And that was really one of the points with this technology, is to show you that how easily it is to install in a conventional truck, right? This is a conventional truck. So you've got the 15-liter engine in here, and it was a drop-in, right? We've removed the radiator for visual, but the nice thing about this engine is that it runs actually cooler than a diesel.
Oh, okay.
And so you don't even have to upgrade it uses existing cooling package.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the point.
okay, I see.
So it's it fits because this is the new Cummins 15-liter platform.
Yep.
So if an OEM integrates our diesel or natural gas,
Yep.
the engine mounts, the transmission options, all that's the common, and it's really just the new components in the white,
Right.
and then fuel.
Right.
So you can see it fits really well. We have the air cleaner removed as well for visuals,
Right.
but that's just to make it
Right.
easy to see.
Right. Real quickly on that, so we've mentioned the emissions kind of already. How do the emissions stack up versus a diesel, clean diesel now, and versus like a natural gas? Where do we fall in that emission?
Yeah, that's right. So the key here is it's zero carbon. So this has the same carbon footprint as a battery electric or a fuel cell, period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the real story. It is combustion, so that means there are NOx emissions.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And so this technology will meet all future NOx regulations globally, including California.
Okay.
And it is extremely low on particulate matter. We won't even need a filter like we have on diesel.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
it's a very low NOx, zero carbon solution. And that's what it's about, greenhouse gas. That's what this delivers, the same greenhouse gas as a battery electric or fuel cell.
Right. Well, and you got to fuel it too, right? You
That's
have
right.
storage.
Yeah. So we have gaseous storage. Let's take a look
okay.
at it.
Perfect. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so it actually looks a lot like a natural gas system.
Yeah.
Because it's just gaseous onboard storage. And it's stored in a very conventional way of how we store natural gas. Carbon fiber cylinders.
Yeah.
So this will have 4 carbon fiber cylinders that have a total of 80 kilograms of fuel.
Okay.
And that means this vehicle will have 500 miles of range
Oh, wow. Okay.
just with this storage in almost every fleet application.
Okay.
And we can actually add more fuel. You can see there's a great, huge gap here.
Oh,
with
yeah.
no
Right,
diesel
right.
tanks, right?
Yeah.
And so there's more space for additional fuel if you wanted to extend that range.
Yeah.
But 500 miles is a really, really good range.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the benchmark for what long-haul fleets want to see out of
Yeah.
new technologies. Compressed hydrogen, right? I mean, because I hear about liquid hydrogen too. Is that a thing that is being looked at now, or is
It
compressed
is
the way to go forward?
We expect compressed gas to be the initial kind of the first generation. We're seeing fueling stations open up for fuel cells, and that would work for the engine as well. So
Yep.
gaseous would be first, but there's no reason why you couldn't also store the fuel as a liquid. The engine and fuel cell don't care.
Oh, okay.
So by the time it reaches those devices, it's back in a gaseous form.
Oh, I see.
The benefit of liquid is you can actually package more fuel on board, 20 to 30% more fuel in the same amount of space.
Okay.
And I also want to point out that this fuel delivery system is the exact same system that would be used for a fuel cell.
Okay, interesting.
And so again, there's a complementary,
Right.
kind of nature to this
Commonalities.
technology along with fuel cells, because you can drive scale to the same systems. And so we can have, by having an engine, we can double the volume on these fuel delivery systems, drive scale to the market, drive costs down, and that should help both an engine and a fuel cell future.
Right, so what's the next step? How do you bring the X15H to the market? Where are you at on that roadmap?
Yeah, we're in our commercialization project now. So we have engines running today all over the world in test cells, and we'll see vehicles on the road in field test in customer hands in 25 and 26, and scale production in 27, where these will be orderable from an OEM, fully supported through the Cummins network for both the engine and the fuel delivery system. 3 years, 7 months.
Very cool, very cool. Jim, thanks for taking the time, appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna go over to David Sickles. He's at the Chevron booth to take us through their sustainability efforts there. Take it away, David.
Hey, thank you, Jason. I am standing here in the Chevron booth at ACT Expo. I am with Nurai Elchi. She is the General Manager of Renewables for Chevron. Nurai, you had a great panel the other day where you were talking about how important it is for Chevron to have a solution for fleets no matter what fuel source they're looking for. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. And we're really excited about developing a menu of solutions for all of the renewable alternatives, and that includes really everything from starting from our traditional business of diesel solutions to biodiesel to renewable diesel to renewable natural gas, along with hydrogen that we're building for the future. And what we truly believe is that fleets and a variety of customers have different use cases, and depending on the use case, one size doesn't fit all, and so we really want to meet our customers where they need to be met. And we do believe this whole transition is really a journey, and so we really are focused on making sure that we meet the customers along that journey and that we have a suite of solutions that they can use both today, because a lot of those solutions can be cost effective today and still lower the carbon intensity of our customers and the planet, and also developing hydrogen value chains for the future. So.
Excellent, excellent. So speaking of decarbonization, traditionally when you think of Chevron, you might think of diesel. So where does diesel play in decarbonization of fleets today?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because it's a very valid one. I think as much as there's currently about 1.5 billion vehicles around the globe, and only 1.2% of them are actually EVs. So really, it leaves a lot of vehicles, whether diesel or not, to continue to lower the carbon intensity for. And so we really have had to go all the way with. We're very excited about our recent acquisition of Renewable Energy Group, REG, and they're really ahead of their times in terms of developing the renewable diesel capacity as well as the biodiesel opportunity. So we're really continuing to grow that offering as well, and we have an expansion of some of our refineries in Geismar to do just that. And we do believe that there is a place, especially at cost parity today, where you can use the same vehicles, you don't have to exchange your vehicles, but yet you can still reduce your carbon intensity. And so it's exciting to us that you can do something today, both whether it's with renewable diesel or biodiesel, you can do something today with renewable natural gas, and we can look into the future with the other solutions.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point, that it doesn't have to be a 5 years down the road kind of thing. You can start today.
Absolutely, yes.
So during your panel, you also briefly spoke about a partnership that Chevron has between Cummins and Walmart. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you're looking for with that partnership?
Yeah, we're super excited about that partnership. We've really been working at this for quite some time, and we, between the Cummins X15-liter engine, which we think is a game changer in the industry, because the 12-liter engines didn't necessarily, for some applications and uses, especially in Class 8 trucks, didn't necessarily have the horsepower and the torque. So this new engine, we were able to get actually the first engine with Cummins through our partnership, and Walmart is a very interested customer that wanted to give it a try. We actually have the truck outside. I had the opportunity to get in it today, and it was very exciting. Very cool. Talking to the drivers, they seem extremely happy, and they see it very promising. And so I think there is a lot of exciting stuff happening in this space. So that actually continues to develop the spectrum of use cases for RNG. So. Excellent.
Well, Nurai, thank you so much for your time here today. We're going to talk with your colleague, Walt, about the Delo 600.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, Walt Collier, thank you for joining me here. He is the brand manager for the Delo brand. Walt, you were telling me a little bit about the Delo 600 and how important it is for mixed fleets. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really happy to announce that just today, Cummins gave Chevron approval for the Cummins spec 292. And that's very important because now with this product, Delo 600, you can now be able to use it in a mixed fleet of diesel and compressed natural gas engines. So really to make it simple for the fleet owner, you know, in today's world, some people may use various different products for compressed natural gas and for diesel, but in this case, you can now utilize this one product for everything compressed natural gas and everything diesel.
That's
so
a big
really
deal.
exciting time for us.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Walt, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time here today. Jason, back to you.
Thanks, David. We're out here at the Ride and Drive area with Sean Hennebury, Powertrain Marketing Manager, Kenworth Trucks. Sean, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got the Kenworth 270E here, Class 6 battery electric truck. Take us through the specs. What equipment's on this?
Yep, so this is our K270E Class 6, so we can go up to 26,000 pounds. On it, we have our smallest battery pack. We have 3 options, so this smallest one is 141 kilowatt hours, but we also have a 209 kilowatt hour and a 282 kilowatt hour battery pack. Since this is the Class 6, you get the Dana Sumo TM4 motor that's got 360 horsepower. If you go to the Class 7, going up to that 33K GVWR, then you get HD version of that motor that gives you nearly 500 horsepower.
What in those battery packs, what's the range, typical range that you get out of all of those?
So fully loaded, the smallest one goes about 100 miles, and then the next step would take you to 150, and then their biggest one would go 200 miles.
Okay, I see. And how is that working out in the applications this rolls into? What are you working with customers to spec out that equipment?
Yeah, it's a lot of pickup and deliveries, your box vans, your flatbeds, things like that, that are quick in-city routes, and you're queuing in traffic. It's those high idle time applications. Yep. You get quiet operation too, so if you're dealing with noise ordinances, that's also nice. You can hear some diesel behind me, but this one's pretty silent.
What about infrastructure too? How are you working? We're hearing a lot about that, the need for infrastructure. How are you working with customers in these applications to get infrastructure in the ground for them?
Yeah, so our aftermarket parts division, PACCAR Parts, offers chargers from 20 kilowatt all the way up to 350 kilowatt, and we're partnered with Schneider Electric and Entech Solutions to do site assessments, do all the permitting, and work with our customers to have those installed on their sites.
Very cool. Sean, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. We're going to head back inside the show floor. We got David Sickles over at the Mack Trucks booth. David, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Jason. I am here with George Fotopoulos. He is the Vice President of E-Mobility Business Unit at Mack Trucks. George, how's everything going with the LR?
The LRE specifically, because it's not just an LR, we're talking an electric platform, right?
Absolutely.
So the LRE for the Mack Truck LR Electric. It's okay, so we've been in production with this vehicle since 2021. So it is a 2-year journey, call it a year and a half really, because we're not quite into 2023 too far yet. And the commercialization efforts are very successful in regards to the adoption that we've had in the customer base that we've spoken to the vehicles that we have out there. Now our appetite for vehicle sales are actually more than you actually see out there on the retail side of things, but things are progressing definitely in the right direction.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. So I know at the other side of your booth here, you have the MD model here.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about the journey going from the LRE to the MD. What are some lessons you learned? What have you been able to implement? What are fleets looking for? Things like that.
Sure, yeah, there's many lessons to be learned. First, it's now 2023. This is our second offering on the EV space. And we started off with a solution on the heavy duty side. You can imagine the difficulties in the environment of this duty cycle on the heavy duty side, but we are a leader on the heavy duty refuse space. So we started with the electromobility journey on the refuse for that reason, as we are in a leading position and we had to show that leadership going forward. So that application, going to a more medium duty application, you can imagine the duty cycle is a medium duty cycle, so it's a lot less when it comes to the vibration, the loads that it pulls.
George, I wanted to ask you about weight and payload. How are these? How important are these to the customer, and how are you meeting their needs?
Perfect question, because payload is the moneymaker for the customer, so it's a very important point. And we all know that in the industry, EV equals a heavier vehicle. But this is something that we've also taken into consideration in designing and building this vehicle. In a Class 7 application, where you can carry 33,000 pounds of gross vehicle weight, GVW, the vehicle itself with a larger battery pack in Class 7 that has 240 kilowatts, as we mentioned, weighs about 13,500 pounds. So you have an ability of 19,000 pounds plus of payload.
Wow. Okay.
So that is a good, unique selling point for us because we've taken weight and that payload into consideration in building this vehicle. So we've learned a lot of lessons, of course, on the heavy duty side. So this one is a knock out of the ballpark, really, for us. So we started off with a difficult journey, and we got into more of a simpler application for EV. So it's definitely, EV suits this application super, super well.
What are some of the fleet applications that you see this going toward?
Yeah, so we want to start off in the area of the simple fleet applications in the transportation sectors of box, so pickup and delivery, flatbeds, stake bodies, even some smaller EPTO applications like some small dumper bodies. Reefers is another one too that we're interested in getting into, but nothing too heavy hauled, nothing too EPTO heavy of a power draw. Obviously those are a little bit heavier duty cycles, so we want to start off on the lighter duty cycle side of it.
That makes a lot of sense. And can you walk us through any of the specs as far as, range or charge time, anything like that?
Sure, absolutely. So first, I want to start off with a copper bulldog, right? All our electric products are going to have the copper bulldog that is adorning the hood. And that's one of the, that is my favorite thing about this truck. Why? Because what does the bulldog stand for? Durability, quality. It's been around for 123 years, right? So this is epic.
Wow.
All right, so the specification of the truck, we have two classes of truck, a class 6 and a class 7.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to offer in the medium duty space. We're not going to get into the class 5 or below with this vehicle. It's class 6 or 7.
Okay.
The class 6 has two battery configurations. It has a pack that is a 150 kilowatt pack, and also has a pack that is a 240 kilowatt pack.
Okay.
Now in the class 7 side of things, we are not going to offer the smaller battery pack. It's because it carries more load, so it does require the larger battery pack of the 240 kilowatts.
Sure.
As far as the range and performance of these two battery packs, you just subtract 10 off. So if it's a 150 battery pack, it's about up to 140 miles, or the 250 kilowatt battery pack is about 230 miles. I'm sorry, it was a 240 kilowatt battery pack of 230 miles.
Sure,
right? So that's an easy part of how to remember that equation. Another thing about this truck is that we don't have in the heavy duty space is charging we simplified in this vehicle. DC level 3 charging is in the heavy duty space. This also does accommodate DC charging as well. However, we also have an AC charging option. So when you have a longer dwell time, you charge at a slower rate, but the charging is much less expensive. What I mean by the hardware and the infrastructure side of things.
Sure.
So that's very accommodating in this truck because it does domicile, typically sits overnight, has a constant place to charge, and AC charging works very well for this application.
Excellent. No, that makes a lot of sense. And then speaking of infrastructure, a lot of times you talk to fleets and they're not sure where to start with that, or maybe that's even a barrier to entry as far as adopting an electric truck. How are you helping them to do that?
Yeah, so that's one of the challenges that we have in the transformation journey that we're going for here. And I want to say that we have advisory services, we have grant discovery services, we have charging and infrastructure friends and partners out there in the industry. We don't just partner with one. We know there's many smart solutions out there when it comes to the charging and infrastructure and design and construction space. So we have agreements with a lot of partners out there in the industry that we help bring to the table to solve the customer's problem.
Excellent. Well, George, thank you so much for your time today here. I really appreciate it.
David, that was quite good. Thank you.
Jason, back to you.
All right, day 2 in the books, another great day. We're going to be back tomorrow with another show. We're going to be talking with Shell, Hyliion, Valvoline. We're going to be back here at the Cummins booth taking a deep dive into natural gas, so we will see you tomorrow.